Welcome to Okaloosa Eye on Crime. It's your chance to help local law enforcement find wrongdoers and put them behind bars.
That's right, and we have a lot to talk about on this edition, from shootings in South Okaloosa County to a suspicious fire at the site of a former landmark Niceville restaurant.
We're also going to show you the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office new Canine Training Center, which has been accomplished with the help of the Okaloosa County School District. And we're going to hear from Sheriff Larry Ashley on budgets, gangs, and violent crime. First up, though.
That's right, and that's a 13-year-old mystery that law enforcement officers are hoping maybe somebody can shed some light on, and that is it's been 13 years since the death of Michelle Shelley Metters, and of course the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is asking anyone for information that might help solve this case. Now, Shelley, 15 years old, was one of 3 girls that was standing on the east side sidewalk of Highway 98 there by Big Kahuna's on the evening of August 10th, 2002. Now, a vehicle struck 2 of the girls on the sidewalk, then continued eastbound. Now, 15-year-old Tiffany Logston received serious injuries as a result, but Shelley Metters actually died. The case is still open, but so far unsolved. And of course, this would bring closure to not only her family members, but I know several investigators that have worked this case over the year and continue to work the case. So anyone with information, give us a call.
Okay, next up, the Sheriff's Office is investigating the shooting death of a Fort Walton Beach area man that occurred during the early morning hours of June 24th. Deputies responded to 39-year-old Jimmy Lee Dodd's mobile home on Marty Lane around 5:30 in the morning after another resident placed a 911 call for help. Dodd's body was located outside the trailer, and investigators say he'd been shot multiple times. So obviously anybody with any kind of information on that shooting is asked to contact the Sheriff's Office or Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers.
And another fatal shooting, and this time it's the Fort Walton Beach Police Department that's looking for information referenced the shooting death of Randy Campbell at the Cape Apartments there in Fort Walton Beach back on June 11th. So anybody with information about that homicide, give us a call, 863-TIPS. Remember, you're completely anonymous.
And here we've got a couple photographs we want you to take a look at, where investigators with the Sheriff's Office are trying to identify this guy after he burglarized a Destin charitable organization. It happened on the night of June 17th. The white male threw a piece of cement through the glass front door of Harvest House, which is over on Mountain Drive in Destin. He entered the store, made his way to the cash register, and after failing to pry it open, he cut the power cord, took the machine with him as he left the store. He's believed to have arrived and departed the area in a quad cab pickup truck.
And the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is investigating a robbery that occurred at the Tom Thumb convenience store there on James Lee Road in Fort Walton Beach about 4:10 a.m. on the morning of August 10th. Now, the employee described the robber as a black male in his mid to late 20s. He was wearing a green and white plaid shirt and with a tan shirt that was wrapped around his head, of course, to conceal his identity. So anyone with information about that crime or who that might be, of course, Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers.
And the Niceville Police Department and State Fire Marshal's Office are looking for information on a suspicious fire. It's one that destroyed several buildings, including the former Tisa's restaurant on John Sims Parkway. And this took place on the early afternoon hours of Tuesday, August 4th. Detectives are asking anyone with any information about how this fire may have started or anything they've seen around that time to contact them. Or, of course, you can always contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers anonymously.
And the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is investigating after a Crestview woman was attacked while unloading her groceries. What a scary situation this was. Now, she said she was unloading them at her Crestview area home when a man attacked her and tried to shove her into the trunk of her car. Now, the 32-year-old victim, she did suffer some cuts and abrasions, and this actually happened back on July 26th on Brown Place. She told deputies the suspect first stood at the end of her driveway and asked if he needed help, or she needed help with her groceries, and she told him no. Now, they did describe him as about a black male, 20 to 30 years old. He was wearing a gray T-shirt and black Nike shorts, and he ran west from the home about 5:30 p.m. One witness said the man appeared to be about 6'3" tall, weighed about 250 pounds. So anyone with information about that incident, give us a call.
And this lady was actually transported to North Okaloosa Medical Center for evaluation and treatment of her injuries. So a very scary situation up there.
Very.
And there might be some other witnesses out there that might have noticed this individual that could give some hints that could help locate and find out who it is.
And now, over the last 10 years, the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office has experienced a 35% increase in calls for service, and the population has climbed nearly 9%. The number of tourists has grown 70%, and violent crime is up 111%.
And keep in mind, the expenses, of course, are also much higher than in 2006, but what's not up is the amount of money the OCSO receives to respond to these surging demands. Sheriff Larry Ashley had asked the county for a $3.4 million increase to try and get operating revenues in line with needs.
And the goal was to put 4 new deputies in each of the Sheriff's Office 3 districts, add a 6-member street crimes unit and a 6-member traffic unit, as well as 3 non-sworn positions, a cyber tech analyst, body camera records clerk, and body cam maintenance person. But funding for those public safety resources appears unlikely at this time.
The $1.4 million that the county administrator was recommending going into FY16 would have been a 0% increase in the resources that the Sheriff's Office had in the last 10 years. So you take 10 years of where we equate to where we're spending the same amount going in 16 as we were in 2007. And you contrast that with a 111% increase in violent crime, a 36% increase in calls for service, an 8.6% increase in your residential population, almost a 70% increase in your tourist population, and the cost of everything that's increased, whether it's insurance, electricity, fuel, ammo, the list goes on and on. Something has to be done. It costs more every year if we change nothing. You know, the sustainability of our operation, whether it's pensions or insurance or fuel or whatever it is, it goes up every year. And if we're not keeping pace, then you can't keep the same number of officers you have, much less increase the number of officers you have. All we ask is that we be made a priority, and in our commissioners, this board has been very willing to support law enforcement, but they are not willing to raise taxes or generate additional revenue in order to do that. And that comes down to priorities. What are our priorities, and what are we spending money on that is a higher priority than a 111% increase in violent crime victims? And that would be my question: is what is more important? You know, we can drive around a pothole in the road, but we can't drive around people that have been injured in traffic crashes. We can't drive around people that have been shot. We can't drive around rape, robberies, murders, and thefts and the like. So it all goes to the quality of life that we're accustomed to and what we expect. Nobody asks me what my budget is when they're calling for help. They don't ask me how many deputies I have. Do you have a deputy available to patrol my neighborhood? I've got drug dealers down the road, or I've got speeding in my neighborhood, or I've got issues going on. They're not asking me what my budget is and whether I have the resources to send. They expect it, and they expect our government's primary purpose, the real reason for existence, is for public safety and infrastructure. And I would just say that even though we were awarded another $500,000 or proposed another $500,000 from the reserve where this BP settlement money is gone, it's a one-time $500,000 increase. So we went from a $3.4 million request for 24 deputies and 3 civilians to a $1.4 million recommendation by the county administrator, and add a $500,000 one-time reserve for vehicles. So we're at $2 million when we're asking for $3.4 million. And it certainly helps, and we're certainly appreciative of our board's consideration in that regard, but it's woefully short. Every time we have been reduced in our budget, violent crimes increase, and every time we've been added in our budget, violent crime has decreased. And that's just one of many variables, and certainly I'm not indicating that that's the only causation for an increase or decrease in crime, but it certainly is the only variable involved in our ability to address violent crime.
And going right into some other law enforcement news, a recent spate of shootings has many residents concerned over what they fear is an uptick in gang activity. Sheriff Ashley said that his agency is committed to cracking down.
Yes, we do have gangs, and we've had gangs. I don't know, I've been talking about it for the last 5-6 years that we certainly have a gang presence. Nationally known gangs like the Devil's Disciples, or the outlaw motorcycle gangs, or Bloods and the Crips and the things. We have a lot of local gangs that and people call them wannabes, but wannabes are probably more dangerous than the rest, just because they're not looking to impress anybody else other than protect their drug trade or protect their neighborhood, their turf, and so that they can be, I don't know, I call them like baby snakes. They can't control their venom. I tell people pretty frequently we've got more sex offenders and predators in Okaloosa County than we do gang members. And that's not to alleviate the seriousness of these, but we've got a lot of issues going on when it comes to violent crime in Okaloosa County, and this is not one we're willing to let set in and grow like a cancer. That I'm certainly pleased with our state attorney's office and Mr. Bill Edens, our state attorney, that willing to go after these organized groups under RICO and our racketeering and influence and corrupt organizations. If you're the head of a gang, we're coming after you, and we're coming after all your associates. And that's a message that I want to make clear to anybody that would think that Okaloosa County is the place to establish a gang. We're not going to tolerate gangs, whether it's street gangs or outlaw motorcycle gangs, or any illegal activity, and especially the kind that brings the type of violence that these gangs do. Drugs and alcohol are the bane of our society, but when you start using drugs as a means to murder, to kill, to maim, whether it's home invasion robberies or debt payments or enforcers or the like, we're going to take a real serious interest in you. And I just want to send that message to any would-be gang members that this is not the place you want to practice your trade.
And now let's take a look at some wanted folks wanted here by local law enforcement agencies, of course, as of today's taping date, which is August 14th, 2015. And first up, a new face, 46-year-old Jeffrey Lee Johnson. He's wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office for violation of probation for sale, manufacture, deliver methamphetamines, last known to live in Freeport.
Arzelia Tishawn McLaughlin, last known to live in Crestview. He's wanted by the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office for sale of cocaine. Another individual last known to live in Crestview over on Auburn Road was Troy Kevin Kearns. He's wanted by the Sheriff's Office for violating probation on a charge of aggravated assault.
Brittany Linnell Sanders is wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office for violation of probation for create, use, or possess counterfeit credit cards with intent to use counterfeit information.
Next up, Alexis Shirlene Tassin, 21 years old, wanted by the Sheriff's Office for burglary, larceny, fraudulent use of a credit card, violating probation for grand theft, failure to appear, drug possession, and driving with a license suspended or revoked. Last known address, Ashley Lane in Fort Walton Beach, and that was a mouthful.
Long list there. 26-year-old Samuel Thomas Lyons, who was last known to live in Crestview, and he's wanted for uttering a forged instrument ×5, theft, violation of probation for obtaining drugs by fraud.
Walton County investigators are looking for Justin Thomas Parks. He's wanted for charges of burglary, criminal mischief, and misdemeanor VOP for driving with a license suspended or revoked. And Parks was last known to live in the Freeport area.
And next up is Troy Clayton Gavin, who's 45 years old. He's wanted for failure to register as a sexual offender, last known to live over in Ponce de Leon.
The Sheriff's Office is looking for Crystal Lynn Marie Corkins. She's wanted for providing false information to a pawnbroker, along with burglary, fraud, grand theft, and dealing in stolen property.
30-year-old William James Barcheski, who's wanted for resisting arrest with violence and trespassing, last known to live on Rainbow Drive in Fort Walton Beach.
30-year-old Robert Lee Hutton, wanted by the Walton Sheriff's Office for violating probation on battery on a law enforcement charge, last known to live in Freeport.
And Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office investigators are still looking for Michael Scott Laravide, who's wanted for violation of probation for possession of controlled substance, possession of marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia, last known to live on Miracle Strip Parkway in Fort Walton Beach.
Joshua James Picard, wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office for violating probation on charges of possession with intent to sell or manufacture controlled substances, possession of marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Picard's last known address was in Defuniak Springs.
The Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office K-9 unit now has a new training facility at its disposal thanks to a joint use agreement with the Okaloosa County School District.
Sheriff Larry Ashley and School Superintendent Jackson
so
recently had a ribbon cutting that's at the property that's on a portion of the Choice campus over off Lewis Turner Boulevard.
Previously, we were located 2 miles down a dirt road in the middle of a spray field. When the weather got bad, we couldn't even get down there. The road was so terrible, it flooded so bad and stuff, we wouldn't even be able to make it down there. Sometimes we were down there and actually got trapped where we almost couldn't get out because it would rain in the middle of it or something bad would happen. We had a little kind of trailer out there, which thankfully Bob Dudley, the sergeant before me, at least got electricity in there, so we had a little bit of air conditioning, but we had no running water. We had no toilets, we had no other nice amenities to take care of ourselves once we were out in the middle of nowhere. So when this facility became available, worked with Mr. Sampson there, and they were all for this, and it became a premier training facility for us to work at here. Obviously, it's air conditioned, it has running water, it has restrooms, it has all kinds of good amenities that we can use. That room over there is our training room now, as you can surmise. We got a conference table where we can sit down and go over real world events, how they happen, what we can learn to make ourselves better, what we can do to change things and be safer in the job we do and use our dogs to our better ability. We have the kitchen area there where we can take care of the dogs and some dog food and supplies that we need to as we do. And one of the most important things was the storage area out here where we can keep our equipment that doesn't get moldy now, it doesn't get wet, it's all organized in one spot, ready to be grabbed and handled and taken care of. So this building here is going to be a huge asset to us. It already has been in the couple months that we've been using it, and the training we've been able to garner. Everybody knows, but it's that hot outside, it's hard to teach people. You know, everyone's concentrating on the heat and how miserable they are and stuff like that, and you just can't really teach. When you got a nice air-conditioned environment where you can be alone in here, we can discuss things that we need to without fear of interference or those kinds of things. It's great and it adds to the training atmosphere.
The Sheriff's Office currently has 6 patrol canines and then 1 narcotics detection canine.
And next we want to go back to our list of fugitives that are currently being sought by law enforcement. And first up on our next list is 20-year-old Lewis Jeff Ingram, who's wanted for failure to appear for larceny and last known to live on Navy Street in Fort Walton Beach.
But we can tell you that thanks to a tip from one of our folks out there, Misty Patrice Weathersby has been captured.
But we're still looking for Larry Neal Brown II, who's 35 years old. He's wanted for a violation of probation for aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, criminal mischief, and battery, and last known to live on Angela Lane in Mary Esther.
Juan Ramon Marquez was last known to live on Jonquil Avenue in Fort Walton Beach. He's 35 years old and he's wanted by the Fort Walton Beach Police Department for trafficking and stolen property.
And some more good news. Ernest Tom Goodman Jr. has been located since our last show.
The Walton Sheriff's Office is still looking for Ronald Wesley Lewis. They want him on a charge of aggravated stalking. His last known address was in Pensacola.
34-year-old Roderick James Rudderson Jr., who's last known to live on Mooney Road in Fort Walton Beach, he's wanted for possession of synthetic narcotics within 1,000 feet of a school and failure to appear for driving with a revoked license.
Same thing with Brian Edwards Babs Sr., 55 years old, wanted by the Walton Sheriff's Office for violating probation for the driving with license suspended or revoked. Last known address was in Freeport.
And 40-year-old Mark Robert Fitzgerald, who has warrants in actually both Walton and Okaloosa County for grand theft and contracting without a license, last known to live in Santa Rosa Beach.
Of course, contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers if you know where to locate Edward J. Stanley, wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office for failure to appear on multiple counts of uttering a forged instrument and grand theft.
Next up is 60-year-old Mark Stephen Hansford, who's wanted for altering a bank bill or note and theft.
Carlos Urbina Suarez, 28 years old, wanted by the Walton Sheriff's Office for larceny and burglary.
28-year-old Charles Keith Wallace is wanted for possession of a controlled substance without a prescription.
Been looking a while now for Geronimo Bayon. He's wanted for failing to appear on original charges of felony DUI, driving with license suspended or revoked, last known address Walton County.
And call 863-TIPS if you know where Everett Hairston is. He's 33 years old, and he's wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office for violation of probation on the original charge of grand theft auto.
And last on this list, Emmanuel Martinez, wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office for violating probation on charges of resisting an officer with violence, loitering, and prowling.
Now, Okaloosa County school resource officers go back to school having been designated as one of the top SRO units in the country.
That's right. Over the summer, they were honored as a model agency by the National Association of School Resource Officers.
In 1997, the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office partnered with the Okaloosa County School District to create the Youth Services Division, introducing school resource officers to every middle and high school. Following the tragedy at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut, we added SROs to every Okaloosa elementary school as well, tripling the size of our unit overnight.
My thing is, if I've got to use resources and I've got a finite amount of resources, what do I protect first? Who do I serve and who do I protect first with the resources we have? Well, I'll certainly debate anybody that thinks that we shouldn't protect our children. Unless they defund the entire sheriff's office, the first 40 positions that we'll have funded will be our school resource office.
Okaloosa County's SROs embraced this opportunity and they tackled the new responsibilities head-on, receiving top honors as Florida's SRO Unit of the Year for 2014. Home to several high-profile military bases with global involvements, Okaloosa County schools are safe havens for many children of our service members.
It's an awesome resource. Herbert Field here has got about 5,500 kids, most of which are in Okaloosa County schools. And the school resource officers and that youth services division is great. So as a military member, we deploy all the time. The 1st Special Operations Wing is probably one of the most deployed wings in the Air Force. And it's absolutely great peace of mind to know that these are the kinds of officers that are protecting our kids here. I've got 3 of them myself who are part of those kids, and I rest easy if I deploy out knowing that they're watching over them.
The NASRO triad serves as the foundation of our unit's mission. Each officer strives to provide positive guidance, enhance knowledge, and ensure the safety of the students in their care. Our SROs expand upon these basic principles to address the ever-changing needs in our students' environment. Innovative programs such as the Junior Deputy Leadership Posse and Character Counts that were created by our SROs help our students become more responsible, encourage good character traits, and develop leadership skills. SROs serve as volunteer advisors and mentors to young teens interested in public service. Through the Sheriff's Explorers program, they learn self-discipline and develop leadership skills on their way to pursuing meaningful careers. We go the extra mile and encourage the same in our students and families. Initiatives like Books to Badges, Deputies Care, Conversations About Real Life, as well as the Minority Roundtable, provide opportunities for kids. Led by our SROs, these programs allow students to experience the joy of giving back, the power of communication, and the importance of diversity in their communities. Each program encourages open dialogue with the SRO in a safe environment and involve the student body, law enforcement, educators, and community organizers to create better awareness and understanding amongst these groups.
As a 20-year educator and administrator, I have had numerous opportunities working with our school resource officers. And they truly exhibit the 3 characteristics that not only our FASRO but also our NASRO officers are expected to exhibit. We depend on them to be law enforcement officers to keep our students safe and secure. We depend on them to be counselors to help not only guide the students but also the adults through tough times. And we depend on them to be educators and teachers and make positive impacts on students.
It's outstanding because it gives parents security with all the things that have been happening in all the states, and I think that it allows us to really just feel like our kids are in good hands. I feel safe in the school, and I think my kids do too. I think the parents are very happy that, they have made this happen.
Okaloosa County SROs develop and deliver curriculum year-round that's designed to inform students about positive choices on relevant topics such as cyber anti-bullying, substance abuse, and bicycle safety. Our SROs are certified instructors for the nationally recognized Teen Driver Challenge program. Each month, Okaloosa County SROs coach a group of local teen drivers safely through a variety of dangerous conditions and emergency situations that they may encounter on the road. The number one goal of the Okaloosa County SRO unit is to ensure our schools remain safe places for kids to learn and to grow into productive young citizens. We believe our own solid training has been the key to reaching this goal. From specialized training classes to college coursework and from CrossFit to charity runs, our SROs stay focused on excellence. We constantly think outside the box to stay physically and mentally fit. 98% of Okaloosa County's SROs are college degree holders, and we represent 75% of the top performers on the physical abilities test. Our unit has even developed an FTO curriculum specifically tailored for new SROs joining our team. Every Okaloosa County SRO is trained in crisis prevention intervention and crisis intervention techniques. This enables us to better recognize students in crisis and to more effectively assist school staff with students who struggle with emotional and behavioral disorders. Our unit has a designated training committee. They're tasked with identifying training needs, researching training topics, and evaluating new equipment. By partnering with our local college and utilizing new technology like the Milo system, we increase the effectiveness of our training while keeping training costs to a minimum. Random anti-terrorism measures, or RAM, have been adopted from the military and implemented in every school as part of regular security procedures. RAM helps prevent easily detectable patterns of behavior by SROs and school administrators, making it harder for people intending to do us harm. The Okaloosa County SRO unit has a safety assessment team comprised of CEPTED certified and tactical officers. It's their job to evaluate schools and to ensure that best practices are in place. Our SROs believe in giving back. In 2013, our unit gave over 50 bicycles to the Florida Sheriff's Association summer camp programs. In 2014, we were able to follow that up with 6 brand new canoes filled with more than $15,000 in needed camp supplies. Year after year, our SRO unit is the foundation of the OCSO Angel Tree program. On average, we raise $10,000 annually to provide gifts and needed items to local kids and families during the holidays.
You make it happen, and without your support, the Angel Tree here at the Sheriff's Department wouldn't be possible.
The ongoing daily value of our SROs is measured not just in crises well managed, but in the mentoring, coaching, and caring that these extraordinary officers bring to their jobs and to the young lives they affect and often change for the better. Today, the SRO program is woven into the very fabric of education in our community and in our state. The Okaloosa SRO program is a model for all of Florida, and Florida's SRO program is truly a model for America.
The Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office School Resource Officer Unit stands proudly and steadfastly as the shield of protection for our students. This we will defend.
And congratulations to all of our school resource officers. What a great job they do. Very well deserved. So we're super excited for them. Now, one of the impressive programs designed to help instill positive traits in local students is called Character Counts. And it's been embraced by students and administrators alike at the schools like Okaloosa Elementary, where it's been implemented.
Students at Okaloosa Elementary School love to go hunting for prizes in the treasure chest in School Resource Officer Deputy Sam Schill's office. The road to these rewards comes through being caught doing something good by the school's 4th grade junior deputies. They call it the Character Counts program.
We were discussing character traits, and we were trying to figure out what character traits that they thought were really important. And then they came about with the idea of several different character traits that they liked. I said, well, that sounded like a really great, possible idea for a program. And I talked to our principal, Miss Massey, and she loved the idea. So the junior deputies kind of came up with the idea of the character counts. And I guess other schools do something very similar. Then I actually went online and found some character coins, and I actually have some character coins here that they actually hand out. They're given 1 to 2 a day. Some say fairness, some say responsibility, some say caring, and they're in different colors. And there's 1 to 2 that they can give out every day, and each of the kids, anybody anywhere can get a coin at any time. So it's a great motivational tool for all kids ages kindergarten through 5th grade. If you're caught being good, you get a coin, and then you get a treat out of the prize box.
Each day, 12 junior deputies can hand out up to 2 character coins.
I'm looking for when people are helping people out when they fall, like doing that is helping out, and then helping out the community and the school, and picking up after people who don't usually do things, and the kids who don't usually do good in school and they have a really good day, usually I sometimes give it to them because they did a good job that day.
How does it make you feel when you get to give somebody a coin? Tell me about that.
It's fun because everybody likes when they get presents and do well in school.
I just really think that it's going to pay off, like you said, down the road with these students, getting them to focus on the positives. They see so much negatives, and they hear of all the negative things that people do. So if we can get them to focus on the positive things and what you need to do and how you need to do it, that's going to pay off.
Thanks for watching.